the man that knows more about e-discovery jobs than anybody in the industry. It's going to bring us up to speed as to what's been happening since COVID, how we can position ourselves, and where we want to go so we can all be successful and thrive in the e-discovery industry. Thank you, Jared. It's all yours.
All right. Make sure I got the right view here. Hold on one second.
I think you're looking good.
All right, looking good. So here we go. Thank you for having me, everybody. We're going to do a blitzkrieg style before and after of what the job market for legal technology broadly, but certainly specifically e-discovery is, was, and will be in the future. So this is just a quick background on me. My business has been around for about 11 years. We have survived 3 economic collapses, or at least I have in my career. And I've placed around 3,200 people. We are 7/8 female, and we're 100% remote and always have been. So we were very prepared for the pandemic in terms of staying operational, but we made lots of pivots over the course of last year to adapt to the market. Let's jump in. Before, there was a good equilibrium in the e-discovery job market, a healthy balance of job opportunities and available candidates. After, there was nothing in Q2. There was a little bit more in Q3 as contract staffing picked up in e-discovery, but it was almost an abysmal Q2 with no hiring happening. Q2 of last year was a time when people were really trying to figure out what we're going to do, how we're going to adapt, and most of our clients were too busy shifting to remote workforces. They didn't have time to hire new talent. So we see that is bouncing back unbelievably strong now, and there is lots of opportunity now, but it was rough. Before, e-discovery sales staffing was around 10 to 15% of open opportunities in the job market and active job placements. There was good, healthy sales movement. After, it's about 1% of transactions last year. We are seeing that change. Sales reps are being more willing to look at opportunities. Companies are more willing to hire sales executives. But last year was the lowest year for sales movement in the market since I've been in this space almost 20 years. Before, e-discovery and privacy were considered separate disciplines. After, these 2 disciplines are forever tied together, maybe more so in my belief than cybersecurity. Our organization specializes in e-discovery, cybersecurity, and data privacy and protection staffing. And what I see happening is a true intersection of legal and technology in data privacy and e-discovery. For example, one of my top 10 predictions for this year is the new review is PII review. And there are hordes of opportunities for document review attorneys to move into that sector and then move out of being pure document review attorneys into more advanced jobs that are guiding the PII review prior to actual discovery review, using technology, using review processes, etc. Before, privacy was really a compliance function with most companies, and that's how it was defined, and that's where the job sat, was in the compliance department. After, privacy is now an interwoven and integral part of the business. It is involved in brand strategy, it is involved in customer retention and acquisition, and they are moving further away from a pure compliance function and really having a seat at the table with C-level executives and the board. Before, most companies who weren't in healthcare didn't really worry about HIPAA. After, oh, everybody's worried about HIPAA now. So imagine you're a meatpacking company and you never really had to worry about HIPAA regulations, and all of a sudden you're taking the temperatures of all of your employees who are showing up to pack meat or chicken. All of a sudden, you need to worry about HIPAA. And what does that do? That creates opportunity to change your privacy program and policies and mature them. We saw more privacy staffing than e-discovery staffing in 2020 because of people's need, companies' need to evolve their privacy programs specifically around HIPAA. Before, privacy programs were expected to explode with mid-market opportunities in January of last year. After, it actually went the other way. Companies recalibrated from the top down, and we saw almost as much chief privacy officer placement last year as we did in 2018 leading up to GDPR. So it was a really remarkable shift in corporate America, moving more towards a model of, hey, we need top-down leadership that can really rethink our entire privacy program or elevate it and mature it, or backfill the person that just left, because there is plenty of movement happening at the CPO level in the corporate sector in America. Before, you'll see in this graph that most privacy jobs, it's this blue, baby blue line here, are around 7 to 10 years of experience. After, we're seeing now that CPOs are growing their departments. The CPOs that were hired last year are now adding talent at the privacy analyst, program manager, and director level. And as a result, we're getting opportunities to get people with 0 to 5 years of experience into the space. Before, privacy jobs were really split between corporations, law firms, and consulting firms almost pretty equally. After, 80% of jobs are going to be in corporate America. Corporations are committed to building privacy programs. They're going to staff it in-house. They are not going to outsource it in a managed service model the way many corporations are outsourcing their e-discovery jobs. When we look at the e-discovery job market in corporate America, I would say less than 10% of opportunities in e-discovery are at corporations. About 30% are at law firms, and the other 60 to 70% are at service providers, vendors, and consulting firms. The total opposite in privacy. Before, contract staffing was at an all-time low in 2019 at 33%. After, contract staffing hit an all-time high in 2020 at 56% of placements that we made. And you'll see that contract staffing has been a pretty aggressive modality for hiring all the way from 2015 until the present at about 40 to 47% of what the market will bear. In 2019, we had a very strong economy, so that dipped down, but it has been explosive. And when people had project-based needs in a down economy, rather than hire full-time employees, they hired contractors. That hasn't changed. What has changed is we are seeing more companies hire full-time employees, but we're seeing just as many contract opportunities as we did during the pandemic. Before, the number one question on an interview is, why are you looking? After, the number one question on an interview in 2020 is, what have you been doing with your pandemic downtime to improve professionally? And it just goes to show you that employers invest in people who invest in themselves. Before, certifications were desired. After, certifications are required, and these are the certifications that have the highest demand and value if you're looking to move jobs. So in privacy, it's the IAPP, CIPP, and CIPM certifications. In e-discovery, it's ACEDS for non-vocational, and Relativity is the most popular and most highly demanded sought-after certification from employers, Certified Administrator, RCA, and in security, it's the CISSP. Before, 90% of law firm opportunities were in an office. After, more than 70% of the net new job openings we've gotten from law firms are remote or remote hybrid. I never thought I'd see the day, but here we are. And law firms are liquidating office space, and they're adapting to the current environment, and I don't think all of them will go back into the office. Before, the number one job motivator was wanting to work remotely from home. After, people expect this now. If you're a company that doesn't want to have employees work from home in perpetuity with some kind of hybrid model, it doesn't have to be 100% remote, you are going to have a much harder time acquiring talent in the future. Everyone's used to this now, and people want the flexibility. Before, office culture was defined by space. Who had the corner office? Who did you share a cubicle with? How far was your cubicle from the attorney that you were supporting? After, office culture is now defined by time. What meetings am I invited to? Who's giving me their time? What Zoom conferences am I allowed to participate in? How often am I getting together with my peers on a video conference? Before, water cooler improvisation was the norm. Let's, bump into each other in the hallway. Let me knock on your door, see if we can talk for a few minutes. After, you have to schedule ingenuity. Book a time, get people together. You're not going to bump into each other in the hall. Before, 80% of first, second, and final round interviews were in an office. After, 100% of first and second round are remote, and 90% of final round interviews are also virtual. Before, companies were focused on filling jobs in their backyard. After, companies are looking at candidates all over the country. And what has that done? This is what it's done. Before, interview cycles for executives were between 3 and 6 months, and interview cycles for mid-market talent were 3 to 6 weeks. After, brace yourself. Executive interviews are 3 to 6 weeks, and interview cycles for mid-market talent like project managers and e-discovery analysts are 3 to 6 days. I'm not kidding. And you say, why is that, Jared? How could that be possible? Well, when everyone is interviewing on a camera, instead of dragging people into an office, making sure all the people that they need to interview are at the office, and also when you've got a talent pool availability that's no longer just who's in New York that's available, but who across the country is available, your interview hiring cycles are going to accelerate exponentially. And that is exactly what has happened. Before, interviewing is about polish. After, interviewing is about authenticity. Since we're doing it over a camera and recording people from home, they want to see how comfortable you are in your own skin and in your own space. And that actually has superseded how polished you can be when you walk into an office. Before, less than 1% of true clients required that searches include candidates with a diverse background. After, this is also great news, there are deliberate increases in demanding diversity candidates in the hiring process. This may not be pandemic related, it's more related to the Black Lives Matter movement, but we have seen demonstrable change from our clients' perspective in this, and I think it's a beautiful thing. Before, we all came together in Gainesville to share experiences and expertise. After, we still all come together. We're just not in Gainesville. Or are we? Go Gators. So thank you. If you thought this was fun and funny, here's how you can find us. And thanks for joining us.
Okay, Jared, that was great. And anybody who says the world hasn't changed just hasn't been around for the past year. And I think we all know the world is going to continue to change. And the new normal is yet to be defined. So thanks for that guide to what's happening and anticipation of what's to be. And I also want to thank you while you're on the screen for your help with our students. You've been a great help in helping place our students that have an interest in e-discovery and want to exercise their technical chops in addition to their legal expertise coming out of Florida.
Thank you. Your students are amazing. They are a total joy. My clients adore them. I'm happy to represent anyone from the university anytime.
Okay, thanks, Jared. Really appreciate it.